Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Radiant Living Podcast with myself, Melanie Dean. Before I get started and introduce this podcast, I'd just like to share with you that on the 25th, so Sunday the 25th of April, I will be leading a workshop around divine feminine leadership. And so if you'd like to join me, it's a free workshop. If you'd like to join myself and my friend and business partner, Kim Meller, on the 25th, then please just pop to my website, melaniejddean.com, and if you're on the newsletter there, you'll find out more information and should be sent out later today or tomorrow. But like I said, it is free, so it'd be great to have you join. But anyway, let me head on to introduce this podcast. I was really excited when Laura Bartlett agreed to be interviewed for the Radiant Living podcast. Laura is the award-winning founding editor and publisher of House of Coco, a magazine which is sold all over the world in stores and online. She built the business in her 20s with zero investment from the ground up. I know you're going to get some great takeaways from this interview. Enjoy. I am so excited to be joined by Laura Bartlett. Welcome, Laura, to the Radiant Living podcast.
Thank you for having me. It's an absolute honour to be here.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited that you decided to join us because obviously we met through living in Leeds, but I've always been looking at what you're doing, what you're up to as this incredible, powerful, inspiring goddess of an entrepreneur who's this big thinker, big visionary. I'm just always looking at what you're doing, what's going next, what you're thinking about, what you're basically doing and growing and putting out there, because I just see you as this really powerful, amazing woman doing fantastic things. So for people who are tuning in who don't know about you or have never met you before, can you just share us a little bit about maybe beginning of your journey into entrepreneurship and what it is that you do now? That's a massive question, I know, that I'm hitting you with straight away. But yeah, just share a little bit about that if you could. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the introduction. I feel like I just want to take you everywhere to introduce me because that was magical. Really appreciate that. But yeah, so I'm Laura Bartlett. I'm the founder of House of Coco, which is a luxury print, travel and lifestyle magazine. I've been working for myself for 10 years. I actually started my first company a few years before that selling handbags, and I made a lot of money quickly and then realized that retail wasn't for me. I then launched a Leeds fashion and lifestyle magazine, and I also went on Dragon's Den to ask for investment. I went on to prove them wrong because I got completely annihilated in front of millions of people on TV. But then on the back of the show, I was made bankrupt and I lost everything because my company failed after a terrible partnership with a massive fashion brand. And so 6.5 years ago, I was sitting in a coffee shop with no money, bankrupt, liquidated company, and my friend Penny had to buy my coffee. And I said to her, I've had an idea, I'm going again, I'm launching another magazine, but this time it's going to be about travel. I'm going to have a team of people. We're going to be called Team Coco. We're going to travel the world, creating content to inspire our readers to live their best lives. And 6.5 years later, Penny, who bought me that coffee, she's since been to the Dominican Republic for her birthday, in Canada with her boyfriend, in Greece with Land Rover, and I've definitely paid her back for that coffee. I've sent 30 of my team to every single corner of the globe. I have seen the world myself, and I've created a life that 6.5 years ago in that coffee shop I could have only ever dreamed of.
Wow, you give me goosebumps and you just blow my mind. What can you pinpoint what happened in that moment where you just like, I've got an idea, and what was it that made you feel like you could even do it? You know, there's so many people, I guess, tuning in who would love to start their own business or maybe have an idea, but that courage to be so intent with what it was that you wanted to create.
Well, people ask me this all the time, like, how did you keep going? And I just say, well, what is the alternative? You know, what's the alternative? Sit at home and cry for the rest of your life? Go and get a job? No, I definitely didn't want to do either of those. So to me, I had a conversation with a friend the other day, and I said, you know, ever since I can remember, I've been so blessed with an internal dialogue where no matter what, I know I'm going to be okay. So I try things and it doesn't matter if they don't work out, because I still know I'm going to be okay. So for me, there was no option other than trying again. And that time I wasn't starting from scratch. I was starting from experience. I'd already built contacts in the previous magazine. I already had an idea about the publishing industry and media. So I knew at that time that the travel industry was about to boom, and I just saw an opportunity, and I just thought, you know what, what's the worst that could happen? Try again and fail, and try again and fail, or don't try again, get a job and spend the rest of my life regretting that I never tried again. So it was kind of a no-brainer, really.
And that's completely perspective, isn't it? We were literally just speaking about the word perspective before we got on the call, but your perception is that you believe you can't go wrong, like you're always going to be fine. But there you were, bankrupt, sat in a coffee shop, not being able to afford your cup of coffee. And for some people that wouldn't be fine, but for you that is fine, because like you said, you had experience, you had knowledge, and as we know, as you know, people who've learned from other, you know, multi-billionaire entrepreneurs, actually I think they've all been bankrupt at least once or twice in their careers as business people, haven't they? So that's like almost like a badge of honor, I think, in business these days.
It's part of the journey. Even Disney was bankrupt.
Was he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But he definitely had that vision, didn't he? And seeing something that other people couldn't see. So then what's like the next step then for you know, is it more faith and trust and feeling that you're guided, or did you know like the nuts and bolts of what to do next?
I think it's people are just a little bit out of touch with reality when it comes to trying things. I think everybody expects to be an overnight success. It's a lot to do with the internet and Instagram and all these glossy lifestyles that we see. You don't see what's going on behind the scenes. So if somebody tries something and it doesn't work out, then they quit because they think, well, that didn't work. It wasn't meant to work because I've seen other people achieve success. But the idea is that's false. The truth is you need to fail in order to succeed. You know, every single successful entrepreneur, every single successful inventor or scientist or whatever, they failed at lots and lots of things before they succeeded at the thing that made them great. So I think we need to break down this kind of wall around the fact that you aren't going to be an overnight success. You will have to fail to get there. And that is normal and part of the journey. Yeah, when I was bankrupt and I lost everything, I was down and I didn't feel great, but I brushed myself off after a week, you know, wallow in self-pity for a little bit, but brush yourself off and move on, because that is part of life and part of the journey. You know, it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows, but if you stick at it, and you're consistent with it and you believe in yourself and in your core that this is what you're meant to do, I think that takes you a long way.
Yeah, definitely, that belief in yourself. And have you always had people around you that have been supportive, or have you ever had naysayers and people that have been a bit, you know, neggy nellies?
I've always had like my parents telling me, you know, do whatever makes you happy. There was kind of a poignant time in my life when I was about 8 years old, and my mum woke me up in the middle of the night with my brother, and she sat us on her knee and she said, Gavin's gone, he's not coming back. And that was my cousin, my mum's nephew. He was 14 years old and he was supposed to go home at 8 o'clock. He asked his mum if he could stay out for an extra hour, and in that hour he fell 50 feet through a roof and he died. So the life path completely changed for me at that point, because it was no longer about, you know, going and being uber successful and doing well at school. It was like, as long as you're alive and you are happy, that is all that matters. So I've always grown up with this fearlessness, because I can try anything, it doesn't matter, because as long as I'm breathing and I'm happy, that's all that matters. And I think we shouldn't wait for bad things to happen in our life to put life into perspective.
Yeah, right.
But that was a massive turning point for me. So I've always had the backing of my parents to sort of say, just do whatever you want. You know, I've never been squashed into a box or anything like that. Yeah. And on the flip side of that, you know, I also had, you know, the first year or two into working for myself, my mum sort of saying, well, don't you think you should get a job now? Don't you think you should get a job? And I'm like, no, mum, no, believe me, it's going to work. You know, she's since been all over the world herself, to Jamaica and to sandals, and, you know, they definitely believe in me now.
Yeah, right. And it's the power in searching for the happiness or experience or being happy rather than, and I definitely went through this, when I first started business, I was definitely looking for external gratification, external rewards, everything was outside of me. And then I was sort of went on to this journey of, spiritual, personal, entrepreneurial growth. And I recognized that actually, like when I hit one of my major key goals and I felt a bit numb, even though it was this big goal I had. I recognized that it was still me, I was still waking up to me. I didn't just automatically wake up, in silky pajamas and just living like the beautiful life. And my mind was clear, it was still stuff going on. And even coming to Australia, I'm in Australia and it's beautiful, but it's all in the mind, isn't it? Everything. So unless you're looking after your mindset and clearing your mind, it's almost all irrelevant. So I think just you saying that, it's such a key lesson and can be so easily overlooked.
It's so true as well. I think as women, as humans, as people, we're always searching for something outside of us, but the real inner peace comes when you realize everything you have is within. And I think I've learned that from a very young age. So that's why I have this belief that I'm always going to be okay. And I love shiny things. I like nice cars. I love my big house. I love things, but I'm not attached to them things. Those things represent the hard work that I did to get here, and they're just symbols of the hard work. But if you're searching for gratification through things, like you're going to get a nice car and then you're going to be buzzing for a day or two and then you're going to forget all about it and it's not even going to be getting washed. But when you realize that everything you need is within, that's when you become really powerful.
Yeah, 100%. And did you find yourself going on a bit of a journey with the whole sort of like the male dominated industry of being entrepreneurs, like when you first started out in that patriarchy? And then did you have a journey in finding your like fierce, because I think of you as this fierce divine goddess, you put in the graft and there's a divine masculine energy to that side, but I see you as this just goddess who just gets stuff done, like it's this almost magnetism rather than a force and a push. Did you find yourself going on a journey with finding that vibe within you, or did you feel like you already had it going on?
Well, thanks again. I definitely feel like it's just who I am as a person.
Yeah.
But I think that I've been in situations, and most recently in a relationship that's just ended, where that other person was squashing my being. I wasn't as sparkly as I wasn't as fearless. I lost confidence and I lost myself a little bit because I was surrounded by somebody who was vibrating on a different level to me, so just wasn't healthy. And just coming out of that, it's funny how it only takes a week to kind of get back to who I was before, because that's the true me. And yesterday I was saying this to somebody. I was on an interview yesterday, and she said, "Who are you?" She said, "Not what do you do, but who are you? What are you?" And I said, "It's funny you should ask that, because I looked in the mirror this morning and I said, I am fearless." And I felt it so much. I thought, you know what? I am so fearless. Like, I don't care what people think about me. I don't care if I fail at something. I don't care if I make a fool of myself. Life is too short to care about unnecessary things. So I just thought, you know what? I am fearless. And I thought, what a great affirmation that is.
Yeah, absolutely. I can just imagine you in your big mirror, like giving it some welly, as I say in Leeds, giving it some welly. I am fearless. And it is so, any affirmation starting with any sentence starting with I am is already just giving it oomph, isn't it? But then I am fearless, absolutely. And just embodying that. And I think when people repeat that in themselves throughout the day, and not just like once a day or whatever, and really embodying it. But I think it's that thing as well, like if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, I would say even 60s, like you've still got time to screw up and to go for it and restart, or to have a moment where you didn't feel yourself and come back out the other end. Like I love that whole energy you've got to life, because you're just always going to be winning if you with that perspective, with that outlook. So I love that. So obviously you have traveled all around the world with your magazine, and that's still in print, isn't it? So how did you feel with everything going on last year? Obviously, having a magazine that's in print, which is already huge in itself because so many magazines, went fully digital, and you decided not to do that. But then obviously having a magazine within travel, um, how was the beginning of all this going on for you? What, as a businesswoman, what did you have to start thinking about? What did you start doing differently?
Well, a year ago, when the pandemic first started, we continued with our mission to inspire people through travel. So we still continued creating the same content. Obviously, we couldn't travel ourselves, but it was a lot of armchair travel, a lot of, when things open back up, you can go to this place and look at this new opening in 2021. And after the first few months of that, that was great. And people wanted that inspo. But 6 months in, to the second lockdown, it didn't feel like it was right to be saying, hey, go and travel to this place, but we don't know when. So we kind of just had an internal meeting, and I said, we're not having our finger on the pulse if we continue to promote travel. We need to kind of diversify a little bit. So we've kind of gone through a bit of a pivot and moved away from travel and more down a lifestyle careers route. We're doing a lot more digital courses around how to launch a magazine and how to grow your social media and all that kind of thing. And we have a team of people collectively. We're called Team Coco. There's 30 people in the team, and every single one of them, two men, but mainly women, has an incredible story. And so we're really using their stories through the magazine to inspire other women to just kind of go out and live life on your terms, whatever that means to you. So yeah, we're just going down a bit of a shuffle. So still will have travel, but a lot more careers-based content as well.
Yeah, I love that. And what's one of your favorite things that you love sharing about when it comes to lifestyle and it comes to, empowering women and making this big impact with women? What's your...
I think the thing for me is I genuinely believe anyone can be anything and anyone that they want to be. I don't think anything has to be reserved for the elite or for people at specific monetary, incomes or anything like that. I think anyone can be anything they want to be. And if you're not the person you want to be, you can wake up tomorrow and change that. Like, we all have the ability to change and be who we want, whenever we want. You just have to start believing that you are that person and living like you are that person. And then eventually you'll wake up one day and realize you are that person. Yeah. But what I find interesting about people in general is we are constantly striving to be something or have something or do something. And we never really take a minute to just sit back and realize, actually how far we've come.
Yeah. That's so powerful, isn't it? That reflection, the power of reflection. Because you're always trying to get somewhere and you don't even recognize that you're already where you once wanted to be.
Yeah. There's a saying that I said, and it's something along the lines of, sometimes you don't even know that you've walked through the doors that you once wished would open.
Right.
And it's so true. We're constantly going on to the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and actually just take a minute. I did it just yesterday. I thought, you know what, take my own advice, and I just sat down on the bed for 5 minutes, and I just thought, I'm living in my dream house, I'm driving my dream car, I'm having my dream business, I've got great family around me, great friends. What more do I need?
Right.
And just enjoy being.
Yeah. That is just so powerful. 100%. I think I know it's more of a habitual question, but we say to friends like, oh, what have you been up to? What have you been doing? And there's times where I've been just said nothing. I've just been being. I being, because everything I've always wanted to create, I've got a lot of that here, and I'm living it, and I'm just experiencing it and being. And there's just a power in stillness, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think some people are just constantly on autopilot, rushing through the day, rushing through life, and you need to just stop and just sit and think, am I doing these things because it's what I want to do, or am I doing this because it's a habit, or my family want me to do it, my partner, my children, society wants me to do it, or am I doing this because I truly want to do this? And if you're not doing it because it's what you truly want, then you're not being your authentic self. And if you're not being your authentic self, then the chances are later on in life you will resent yourself for not being true to who you really were. I think that a lot of people are going through life living because it's the way social media tells them to live, or it's the way their family tell them to live, but very few people are truly living on their terms. And I think those that are the ones that are the most powerful.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's so much conditioning, isn't there? We don't even realize we are getting conditioned to think a certain way. And it's been so mindful of that. And I think that's one thing I've really noticed about you, even just chatting to you these last few moments, is that you've got a real heightened sense of awareness. But I don't consider you as an overthinker. I think sometimes when people are fully aware, they sometimes overthink. But I think that's such a powerful trait to hone in on, is because then you can really, like you say, be powerfully yourself, and just like you say, just keep checking in with yourself. Is what I'm doing what I want to do, what feels good, what feels right? And it's okay, I guess, like you say, you know, if you make mistakes along the way, but move on as quick as you can from those mistakes, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, and just accept that if you will make mistakes, you know, we're not perfect people. We will make mistakes, but you need to accept that's part of the journey. And it's through mistakes and failures where you learn. When things are always working in your favor, you're not learning, you're not growing, but mistakes and failures help you learn as a person. You know, some of the moments in my life that people would say were the hardest times were the times that taught me the most, that became part of my life story and part of my journey. And
Yeah.
without them, I wouldn't be who I am today. So I think we need to sort of flip failures on the head and all these negative things that happen to us, and realize that they're actually blessings. They're
Yeah.
actually lessons,
Yeah.
and we're learning from them.
Yeah, totally. And just really pulling out the positive in the negative, because there's always, again, back to perspective, you can always look at the same thing in two different ways, can't you? And
Yeah, the same
just,
situation can happen to two people, and both of them will see it differently. You know, one of them will see it as a
yeah.
negative and the other one will find a positive. But then there's also, you know, a lot of talks recently around toxic positivity, you know, constantly saying, oh, everything's amazing, or, you know, you'll be all right, just pick yourself up. And I definitely just think I am a naturally positive person, because there is no situation that you can't be positive about aside from death.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true,
Just keep
isn't it?
life in perspective. There's nothing to be negative about aside from death.
Yeah, that's it. It's just perspective. And when you've got that heightened sense where you can just see everything from a heightened position, and see the bigger picture, like you said, that everything's possible, everything's figure outable. Everything's there for us to learn and to grow from anyway.
And
Yeah.
like you say, you know, seeing things from a bigger picture. Everyone, so many people, like I say, running around on autopilot. They're getting consumed in the day-to-day monotony of life. You know, they're doing the dishwasher, they're cleaning the clothes and answering emails, and everyone's just so caught up in all the monotony of life that they're not seeing the bigger picture. Like, why are we here? What is our purpose? Why am I not living on my terms? And I think for everyone that's listening, you know, maybe see this as a sign that you should just take 5 minutes today to just sit and think, you know, am I being true to myself? Is this life the one I want to live? And just sort of check in with yourself.
Yeah, 100%. And one of my favorite questions just to ask myself is, what do you want? What do you want? Like, everything and anything is possible. What do you want? And I ask myself that all the time, just to keep checking in with myself, that I'm like staying alert and paying attention, because like you say, it's so easy to be get caught off. And I know for me, one of the biggest delays of me creating some of my dreams was because I've created this almost like a rule book, that in order for me to have this, then these are all the things that I have to do first, or these are all the things that I have to be or have to show up as, because either someone had put these rules on me, or I created them myself, or society had, or social media had. And then I started seeing other people doing things that I wanted to do, and they weren't playing by my rule book. I was like, hang on a minute. What? You're not playing by the rules. And then I realized it was just all these rules that I'd created or that had been put on me from, I felt I was aware, but there's still another level of awareness to get to. And I think that's the definition of just like being limitless, isn't it, really?
Yeah. And I think, you know, we've all heard the saying, it's not about the journey. It's about the journey, not the destination. And that is true for life. There are so many people, you know, I'm not saying be happy when I have X, or I'll be happy when I weigh less weight. A lot of people wait until they achieve a specific thing before they're happy. You have to be happy now. You have to enjoy the journey. It isn't about the destination. You know, the journey is life. The destination is death. So you have to enjoy the journey. Don't wait until you get to 6 figures or 7 figures until you're happy. You have to enjoy every single step of the way, and that means enjoying every day.
Yeah, fact. And that's what's magnetizing, isn't it? That's what's powerful. That's what draws people, draws opportunities, draws like amazing life into you and your way, doesn't it? Rather than sort of pushing and forcing and shoving and elbows out and hustling hard or whatever.
Yeah, I think as well, there used to be this sort of hustle culture where, you know, hustle, and work up 24 hours a day and don't sleep, and sleeping is cheating and all the rest of it. And, you know, that was great when I first started working for myself, because you've got, you know, you have to have an element of hustle to get there. But 10 years in, I'm not about the hustle life. I'm about the easy life. I'm not about, you know, I'm not trying to get to 7 figures every single year. You know, I don't need that in my life. You know, if it happens naturally without the stress and the burden, then great. But I think as well, you know, our parents and that generation were brought up to believe that you wait until retirement to enjoy life. You know, by which point you're usually too old or too tired to enjoy it. So I'm all about mini retirements along the way, every month. Little holidays, little break. You know, live life on your terms, because we have all been conditioned without realizing it. You know, from the day we were born, when we were given a name and a birth certificate, and we were given a passport, and we were told to go to school and face forward in the class and go to another school and listen to these rules. And we have been conditioned from the day we were born to believe that we should just continue working and paying into a system, and a system that doesn't usually have our back when we need them. And you need to break free of that and live life because it's what you want, and find joy in every day because it's there.
Yeah. That's so powerful. That just like take those words in for anyone who's listening. Just if everyone who's listening, just take that in, because it's just so powerful. And for me, that was definitely my light bulb moment that got me on this journey of entrepreneurship. It was that sentence is this can't be it. This can't be all there is. Like, it can't be, you know, I'd come to the end of my dance career. My life can't be get a job that I don't want to do to pay bills that I have, because I have to do this to get the job. You know, I have to buy these clothes to get the job. I have to live here to get the job. So it's just like this crazy circle that you just get caught up in. And I just thought, that can't be it. That cannot be why I'm here. And I think there's so much people awakening to that, isn't there? This actually, people want to create life on their own terms, and I think that's so amazing. It's so exciting.
It is so exciting, and I think it's so important for anyone who feels like that, to let go of any fear around making any big changes. Just let go of the fear. You know, I always say, take the leap and the net will appear. You know, the universe will have your back. If you are in a relationship that you don't want to be in, that's not making you happy, or a job that you don't want to be in, it's not making you happy, you know, work out how to get out of that and just get out of it. You know, I know that it's easy to just say that, but there is always a way.
There is. And for me as well, if sometimes I can't figure it out or I can't see it, I literally am just like, please, universe, God, source energy, vibrational frequency, whatever, you know, anyone wants to call it. I'm literally like, just guide me, just help me see something that I'm maybe not seeing just yet, but just, you know, help me and guide me on this journey. Like, I trust, I have faith, but I just need a little leg up, or, you know, like, just give me that extra boost. And that's powerful, isn't it? You know, just whatever that is to each individual. It could be intuition, it could be God, you know, or anything in between, but it's just the power of that connection.
And we don't always have to have everything figured out. I think that's the perception that people have on the outside looking in at people who have their own business and entrepreneurs. Everyone assumes you've got everything figured out, but we don't, and we're still learning. But we've taken that first step into believing in ourselves, and the universe has rewarded us with, you know, income and opportunity. You know, you first believe in yourself, and then the universe believes in you back.
100%. So do you have things that you love to do every day that just helps you like stay in this really positive, beautiful mindset? I know you said just naturally you're like just a positive person, but do you have like tips for people listening in who, really want to get onto that positive vibe?
I'd say scheduling in me time. I do that every day. I love a bath in the morning. It's part of my morning routine. I wake up every morning. I have a really long bubble bath. I read a book. I'll listen to a meditation. I might light the candles sometimes. I might stay in there for half an hour. I might stay in there for an hour, whatever I decide. And it's just like silence sometimes. And it's just me in the bath, loving life, feeling like a queen, relaxing into the day, easing myself into the day. And I do that every single day, no matter where I am in the world. If I stay in a hotel and there's no bath, they have to move me to a room where there is a bath. And that's just part of my daily routine. And it's funny because people who don't even know me, strangers on the internet, they know that I love a bath in the morning. It's like a thing. So I think for anyone listening, schedule time. Some people might not be able to do it every day with children and all the rest of it, but we can all find 5 minutes in a day where you just sit, whether it's just you sitting in silence or with a book or with a cup of tea, with no phone, no outside influence, and just have me time. I am a few years ago I actually started something called me dates, where I take myself on a date every month. I think it was every month.
Love that.
I've just been in a 2-year relationship and come out of the side of that. So I've decided to reinstate me dates in my life. And I started it with a couple of days ago. It was the sunniest day we've had in the UK. So I had a drive out to Formby Beach and I spent the day on the beach, just chilling by the water, reading Grazia magazine, listening to the ocean. And I just sat there for like 2 hours, just taking it all in, had a little walk in the sand. Just me on my own, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I love that. I think, gosh, you give such great advice. I think, again, that's so great. It's so powerful. And even with people who have families and children, if you had to give 5 minutes to your child, you'd find it. So find it for yourself.
Yeah. Like, when was the last time you put yourself at the top of your to-do list?
Yeah, I think in the UK, especially, I feel like the UK, there's this real funny relationship with the word selfish, and we think, it's being selfish looking after ourselves, but surely the person who wants us to look after them is being selfish. And if people say we should put someone else first, that's in itself is selfish, is it not? So it's just
so ironic.
It's so warped, isn't it? And actually the best thing we can do is take care of ourselves, because when we're got a cup full, then we can give more. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
I think it's not selfish, and self-love, self-care, it's necessary.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell us about any exciting plans for the future then. What's going on with your world in the next few months, few years? What's your vision? What are you excited to create?
I'm just excited to create more freedom. I mean, my word for the year was freedom, and it was, I've broken free from a relationship. There's only so much freedom you can get with this government right now, but I'm still very much just trying to create more freedom for me. So more, recurring revenue and money flowing without me doing work. And I'm investing in cryptocurrency and just learning more about investing for the future. Obviously, you work for yourself, you don't have a pension. And just really just spending more time just being, reading, being silent, just enjoying life.
Amazing.
Being at peace. Being at peace. I definitely think I have an inner peace. So just enjoying that more. Work is great. I'm going to get back into traveling again. I'm heading to Kenya in a few weeks and the Maldives in a couple of months. And just, I have a business that I love and I don't see that ending anytime soon. So just more of the same, really.
Yeah, fantastic. And do you have any books? Because obviously you've mentioned that you love reading quite a few times. Do you have any books that you just are an absolute must and you would just recommend all day, every day?
Yeah, I think the one that was sort of a game changer for me was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Definitely think that's a game changer. I think that there's a lot of books that come out these days, modern books, that are a rip-off of the Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. So I just go straight to the source and read that. I could recommend a book for everyone. You know, if you're looking for creativity and you're lacking that, there's The Big Magic. And one that I've just started rereading again is The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. She also talks about morning pages, where you wake up every morning. The very first thing you do is you write down on 3 sides of paper whatever's on your mind, whether it's bullet point, sentences, doesn't make sense, whatever. And you just brain dump on this 3 sides of paper. And the idea is it gives you more clarity throughout the day. But you accompany that with the Artist's Way book, and it's all about, you know, finding out the inner artist, you know, your creativity, who you are as a person. And definitely recommend that as well.
Yeah, I've heard of that, and I know people who have done it for like years ago. I remember someone mentioning it to me, but I've never done it myself. So that sounds like a really great one to do. Really great one to do.
It really does help with clarity, because it gets the crap out of your mind. And I pulled out the journal that comes with the book just literally 2 days ago, and I went back, and it was 2016 that I first started it, and I was reading some of the things that I was brain dumping, and I was just like, and some of the things that I read from, like, you know, the book, I'd been writing in it for a few years, I read, and they were things that are still like an issue now, or things that I want to change now. And I thought, oh, it's so funny, isn't it? Like, why haven't I changed that then? So why was I talking about that then, and I'm still talking about that now? And it's a bit of a wake-up call to be like, right, like, time to take action. And stop procrastinating on this thing. So it's a really interesting thing to look back on as well.
Yeah, and it goes back to almost circling back to the beginning when you were speaking about the power of reflection. That is just like a massive reflection, isn't it, from a few years ago, and just, yeah, like you said, just making the shift and making the changes from reading that.
And like you know, I always say the only time you should look back is to see how far you've come. And I think that's so true, and that's what reflection is, really, just to see, you know, where you were, and pat yourself on the back for getting here.
Yeah. Oh, it's been incredible chatting to you. I could literally like just talk to you all day and just get inside your mind and explore what's going on. But it's just been amazing to speak to you, because it's just, you know, you're so refreshing, and you are positive, but you're real. Like you said, you know, sometimes that toxic positivity, but your positivity is just, it's real. And like you said, it's honest and authentic, and that in itself is just so powerful. And I think there's just so many great takeaways from just listening to you speak about everything that you've been doing and creating and shared with us. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you feel like that you feel like I have to share this with you before we jump off?
Not that I can think of, but for anyone who's listening, you know, you are living, you are breathing. Every day above ground is a good day. You know, there's so many people out there that aren't blessed with life. You know, they didn't wake up today, and you did. So let this be a wake-up call to go out there and chase your dreams and be the person that you want to be.
Yeah, 100%. And if people want to find you on the social medias, how do they find you? Where can they see you?
Just Instagram, every channel, Twitter, whatever, Laura Bartlett 0 or House of Coco. Just search it and I will be found.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for sharing your incredible insights and wisdom. And yeah, it's been amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. I'll speak to you later.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us for the Radiant Living podcast. I hope you really, really enjoyed that. If you would like to get in touch, please feel free to drop me a message through my website, melaniejddean.com, or of course through Instagram. And if you have enjoyed this, it would be so appreciated if you left a 5-star review. And I look forward to hearing from you. Have a wonderful week, and let's do this next week. Bye.